In this video, we'll be discussing soil pollution. Let's begin by defining soil pollution. Altering the properties of soil is soil pollution. As simple as that. Now, in what ways can we alter the properties of soil? It could be altering the physical properties of soil, it could be altering the chemical properties of soil, or the biological properties of soil, right? Let's begin with discussing the physical properties. If we alter the texture of soil, that's called soil pollution. If we alter the density of soil, that's also called soil pollution. If we alter the color of soil, that's also altering a physical property and causing soil pollution. If you look at this video here, you can see that a large portion has been altered for color, density, and texture, right? Okay, is there any other way of altering the physical properties of soil? Turns out there is. If we alter the structure of soil, so this is the structure of soil, right? You've got the bedrock and then you've got all those layers of soil. If you alter these layers in any way by maybe reducing the height of a particular layer, let's say the topmost layer is humus, let's say reduce the height of humus, that would be a change in the structure of soil, and that would also be considered as soil pollution. Now, what is the issue when we change the physical properties of soil? What happens is that it starts affecting plants and agriculture, right? Whether we change the texture, density, or whether we change the structure, it all affects agriculture because it affects fertility of the soil, right? Construction also gets affected when the physical properties of soil are affected, right? Let's now discuss the chemical properties of soil and how they can be affected or how they can be altered. The most common way in which chemical properties are altered is when the pH of the soil changes. If the pH goes too low, soil is too acidic. If it goes too high, it's alkaline, right? And so altering the properties of the soil at some place by altering the pH is altering the chemical properties, and that is soil pollution, right? Which other chemical properties can we alter and cause soil pollution? Think about it. I mean, not that I want to, but yeah. Yes, what if we added some salt to the soil, right? That would also alter the properties of the soil and cause soil pollution, right? Or what if we added some heavy metals, right? So this picture shows salts, and it could even be salts of heavy metals. And so I kind of put both together. So this is a classic case of soil being altered by altering salinity of the soil, right? Great. Is there any other way we can alter the chemical properties of soil? Yes, there is. What if we sprayed a ton of fertilizer and a ton of pesticides? These are chemicals, right? That would also alter the properties of the soil, isn't it? So we must be careful with this. Okay, now let's ask what would actually happen if we change the chemical properties? Whom is it harming? Turns out that all of this, whether it's pH, salinity, heavy metals, or whether it's fertilizers and pesticides, these affect the agriculture and plants on the soil. Is there any other way that a chemical change can cause problems? Yes, turns out that it can even affect the water table. Okay, so let's say you take this example where, let's say, the topmost layer of soil has some salt in it and it starts raining. Don't you think the salt will get dissolved in the rainwater? And then it would slowly percolate down and get to the water table and contaminate the groundwater, right? So the water table can also get affected due to chemical properties being altered in the soil, right? Okay, now let's move on to the biological properties. What are the biological properties of soil? Can you think about it? Yes, there are a lot of microorganisms, things like, bacteria and fungi. These are the biological properties, right? Could even be, earthworms, right? These are all biological properties of soil. Now, if the maybe quantity of a certain bacteria is increased suddenly, that can cause a lot of problems, right? That can cause some kind of change in the food chain, and that can cause the soil to be polluted with an excess of a certain kind of bacteria. Or maybe if there's an excess of earthworms, we could have a similar issue, right? Okay, another issue that happens with biological properties being altered is that surface runoff pollutes water bodies. Let me explain what this means. Let's say you have a particular piece of land, and let's say there's a lot of fungus on the land. If it starts raining, don't you think this fungus would then slowly make its way into rivers and seas? Right? That's what surface runoff is, and that can cause a lot of issues if the biological properties of the soil has been changed. Let me list all these three types of changes here. There you go. Altering of the properties of soil can happen due to two reasons. It could be man-made, but it could also be natural. Say a flood or a cyclone affects the soil. That would be a natural cause of soil pollution, right? And we do know that humans make a mess and cause physical, chemical, biological changes, which does cause soil pollution as well. Now, let's go to one of the largest causes of soil pollution, and that is landfills. We humans generate a lot of waste and then we dump it in a big ground, right? And that causes all the area wherever all this trash is dumped to get affected. These landfills see physical contamination, physical properties being changed. These landfills see chemical properties being changed because there are a lot of chemicals that are dumped, and biological properties also change. Biological properties of the soil also change because there are a lot of microbes in all the junk that we discard. Now, how do we solve this issue? Well, in the next few grades, we will discuss about how to construct a landfill properly so that it doesn't affect the soil too much. For now, let me remind you what we can do at home. The three golden R's, right? Recycle, reduce, reuse. If we could just do these three things, our landfills may not be as full as they are. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.